Time. Actually, it's Hump Night, Wednesday, January 28th, 2009. It's 7 p.m. on the Pacific coast of the lower 48 U.S. states. My name is Ace Lundon, and this is Lundon Calling, the talk show you've been waiting for. The internet podcast talk show that could get you high. Ooh, you could become a podhead. Think about it. So welcome all you wild and wonderful weirdos out there in Podland. Thanks for tuning in. The pre- and post-show music is provided by Sonic Eccles, and more information is provided on the website about Sonic. And I must warn you now, if you have virgin ears, if you're a little bit on the prim and prudish side, this is not the show for you because I'm not very politically correct. And every once in a while, naughty words slip through my false teeth. You see, my tongue's in a slippery place. So if you got bad virgin ears, just say, okay, I don't want to listen. And I understand because I am me and this is just the way I am. And I must say that my co-host, he's the way he is too. And you see, I swear and he drinks. So what can you do? Lance, are you there in Atlanta, Georgia?
I am, and can you hear the ice tinkling in my glass?
Yes, let me toast your glass.
All right, clink. Let the party begin.
Yes. Well, folks, I say it every show. Aristotle said that it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. So, folks, you're warned in advance. You don't have to believe anything that we say or whatever, but we just want you to entertain the thoughts. You can accept it, or you can say, oh, Ace, you're full of shit, one or the other,
Hey, Ace, you're full of shit.
Oh, thank you so much. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me today, Lance. I just love you for that. Mm-hmm. What's your weather like there in Atlanta?
Well, here's the thing. We are moments away from southern spring. I mean, seriously, we get about a month of winter, and then we start going into what, north of the Mason-Dixon line would be happening in, I don't know, April.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be on my bike by March, but right now it's kind of Pacific Northwest weather. It's 50s, 60s, misty, rainy, gray, not unbearable, but not the best thing you could have. But I can't complain. We have so many days of sunshine.
Well, we do here. But I tell you, I feel so sorry for so many folks in our continental United States and all abroad that their four seasons include almost winter, still winter, and road construction. That's rough. That's
10
rough.
months of winter and 2 months of damn poor sledding.
So, folks, if you're out there and you're slipping around on the ice and all that sort of thing, I'm thinking about you. I'm glad I'm not with you, though. Yo. That's a little rough to be in. But bless your hearts, you just be careful. Please be careful. Now, I come from South Dakota, and if you didn't know, I'm telling you. That was my home state where I was born. And if your town has an equal number of bars and churches, you probably live in South Dakota. And if you know how to correctly pronounce Pierre, Huron, Ipswich, and Puckwana, then you probably live in South Dakota, too.
There's an Ipswich in South Dakota?
Ipswich, Ipswich. Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of talking like South Dakota has the monopoly on that?
No, Ipswich is around, but a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it correctly.
Well, I was going to say Ipswich is like one of those. I know it as a New England town name. Like to me, Ipswich is Massachusetts.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which basically, I mean, to look at a map of New England is to look at a map of England jumbled up. You know, they have Ipswich, Exeter, Portsmouth.
Yeah.
You know, onward and onward, Norfolk, Suffolk. All those sort of town names that you would know from looking at a map of England.
I always get a kick out of how people mispronounce the capital of the state of South Dakota. They say Pierre.
Pierre,
South Dakota.
What is
Pierre.
it about America that it's always, no, it's Pierre, or no, we pronounce it Vienna instead of Vienna, or, you know, crazy stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about.
I sure do. My little hometown was Beresford, Beresford, named after Lord Beresford from England. Mm-hmm.
So there was a big English settlement. See, I think of South Dakota as like, you know, part of that whole upper Midwest settled by Scandinavians kind of thing, you know, like Garrison Keillor type folks, Lutherans.
Yeah, that's pretty much true, yeah. Matter of fact, my little hometown is having, I think it's, what in the heck is it, the 125th anniversary of the founding of the town coming up this year?
That's pretty ancient for that part of the country, no?
Well, my ancestors were pioneers in what was called Dakota Territory back there. It wasn't a state yet in the 1800s, and they settled there on property that I guess land grant type of thing, you know. That's how I got there. They settled first. Yeah.
Well, I've learned something with these British town names. I'm thinking what probably happened was the Brits got there first, named everything, and then winter came and they said, and screw this. And that's when the Swedes came in, right? Your people. And they were like, oh, this is fabulous. This is like Swedish spring. We'll stay.
By the way, I've got, I mentioned it on the last show, and now I'm going to follow up with it. There is something going on in New York, so all of you New Yorkers, perk up your little ears and listen to this. You know I'm a supporter of the arts. I think that if we do not support the arts, we're up shit creek without a paddle. Anyway, there is a debut show featuring 300-plus artists in New York City. There's a grand opening with a reception on February 19th. So circle your calendar, February 19th from 6 to 9 p.m. and join in the reception. It's going to be at the Art Raw Gallery. And it's their inaugural exhibit of international works of over 300 emerging artists. And the show will run from February 19th through March 21st. So, folks, you don't want to miss this. The gallery is located at 210 11th Avenue in New York City. So, folks, get out there. The reason I am so thrilled with this is that a young artist, a young man that I think is going to become one of the premier artists of the future, another Dali or whatever you want to call him, is going to have his works there, and his name is Adrian Avila. And I'm so thrilled that he's going to be a part of the 300 artists that are going to be showing their works there. And so, folks, get out there, and if you see Adrian Avila's works, you go up and say to Adrian, hey, I heard about you on Lundon Calling. Okay? How does that sound?
Good to me.
Yes.
Now,
I wish I was in New York, because, oh, God, that should be a tremendous show featuring that many wonderful artists. And
well,
I'm sure they're...
Yeah. That's
I'm
wonderful.
sure they're coming from all over the country, because Adrian is from here in Arizona.
Well, you know, I'm going to New York next weekend.
Oh, well, you'll be there before the show opens.
Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. So the first weekend in February. And you know what I'm going to be attending on, let's see, I think it's is it the Thursday night of that weekend? Yeah, February 5th. I will be at the first annual Straight for Equality Awards Gala put on by PFLAG.
Ah, that's coming up, yes.
Oh, yes. It's a big deal. It's $500 a ticket. This is the one where they're honoring Maya Angelou, Sigourney Weaver, Dr. Jonetta Cole. Soledad O'Brien is the MC. I mean, it's just really going to be something. Speaking of which, have you seen Prayers for Bobby?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think?
Well, we talked about it on the last show, but it is absolutely... Yeah,
but I don't think we've seen it then. Like, I just saw it this past weekend when it aired.
Well, I saw it. I had a sneak preview, I guess you'd say, and it is something wonderful. Anyway, yes, if you haven't seen it, folks, Prayers for Bobby is something you should see. They're replaying it now on Lifetime, I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's coming on like all the time.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, were you able to get through it with both eyes dry? Because I wasn't.
Oh, shut up. You think I'm a wimp?
No, I'm asking if you have a heart.
Right? Sure. If I have a heart, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you think that I might have shed a tear or something watching a movie, and here I am, Mr. Macho Man?
I don't recall calling you macho.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't.
Don't go that far now.
Well, there was a tear, so get over it, honey. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I say that. I mean, I'm disclosing. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess.
Well, that's normal.
I think we did such a great job playing.
She
that
certainly
role,
did.
It could have been done so many ways, and I think what she really did well was to portray how much this woman really, really loved her son and really struggled to make the whole thing fit into her worldview. You never got the sense that she was an unreasonable person or that she wasn't sincere or earnest. And the actual story of Mary Griffith, of course, I went and immediately Googled her and found the Advocate article on her. I mean, she's just an incredible person. She's come. It's been quite a journey for her. It really has.
Well, when you go through something like that, incredible seems to become your middle name. Believe me.
Yeah.
Either that or dead.
Yeah.
We're living in this crazy economic crisis time right now. And I've been thinking that, it might be kind of interesting for us to take a look back at the so-called better times that we've had. Because today's young people haven't gone through what some of us oldies but goodies have. And I think that it might be worthwhile. So I think we'll talk a little bit about this, so today's youth might better understand why their elders act and believe the way that I shall put myself in that group, because I am certainly an elder, the way that we do believe. So to all of the kids out there, my age, who survived the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Hello. And now, you young'uns, listen in, because here's what we've been through. First, we survived being born to mothers who smoked and or drank while they were pregnant. Can you believe that, all you little politically correct kids?
Oh, but Ace, that could be why you're gay. I mean,
Oh, sure. Oh, sure, you dreamer. Mothers took aspirin. They ate blue cheese dressing, tuna from a can, and they never got tested for diabetes. After
that's also because a large Coke at McDonald's and a large fry weren't so big that you had to put it in
exactly. You're getting the point. We don't think like the young people because of these things.
So you're saying it's about moderation. So those pregnant women were just having the small meal at McDonald's and having a cigarette a day and maybe a drink in the evening, and that's why we all turned out okay?
Well, I don't know about that. We were put to sleep. We were put to sleep on our tummies in baby cribs covered with bright-colored lead-based paints. And here we are. We're still alive. Oh, my God. You
grew up in China?
No, in the U.S., and we had no child-proof lids on medicine bottles or doors or cabinets. When we rode our bikes, we had no helmets, not to mention the risks that we took hitchhiking. Oh, yes. As infants and children, we would ride in cars with no seat belts or booster seats or airbags. And riding in the back of a pickup truck on a warm day was a pretty special treat, I will say that. We drank from water from the garden hose, not from a bottle that we pay big money for these days, kids. Yes, I even drank out of the stock tank water that was being pumped up and going into the stock tank. Rather hard water, but it didn't kill me. We shared one soft drink with 4 friends in high school from one bottle. And no one actually died from this. We ate cupcakes, white bread, real butter, and drank Kool-Aid made with sugar. But we weren't overweight because we were always outside playing.
That's just because you didn't have the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, say, that's how times have changed. So, kids,
I love how they market it as like your home gym. They show all these people like playing tennis and
please,
but all these active pursuits, and I'm like, man, listen.
Yeah, we'd leave home in the morning, play all day, as long as we were back when the street lights came on, and no one was able to reach us all day, and we were okay.
Right?
We'd spend hours building our go-karts or whatever out of scraps and then ride down the hill only to find out we forgot the brakes. And after running into the bushes a few times, we learned to solve the problem. We didn't have...
a few times? I love it.
Yeah, well, of course, yes. It always takes a few times. We didn't have PlayStations, Nintendos, Xboxes, no video games at all, no 150 channels on cable, no video movies or DVDs, no surround sound or CDs, no cell phones, no personal computer, no internet or chat rooms. Can you believe that, kids? We had friends, and we went outside and found them. We fell out of trees, got cut, broke bones and teeth, and there were no lawsuits from these accidents. We ate worms and mud pies from dirt, and the worms did not live in us forever. And I remember my mother telling me she saw me out under the old box elder tree, and I was just sitting there scooping up some dirt and eating it. And she came, she didn't come out because she was in a wheelchair, but she had her maid come out and get me and brought me in, and she said that Grandma said, "Don't worry about it. He evidently needs something that he's getting from the dirt. Otherwise, I wouldn't have craved it." We were given BB guns for our 10th birthday. Actually, I had mine a little earlier than that. We made up games with sticks and tennis balls, and although we were told it would happen, we did not poke out very many eyes. We rode bikes or walked to a friend's house and knocked on the door, rang the bell, or just walked in and talked to them. Little League had tryouts, and not everyone made the team. Whoa! Yeah. Those who didn't had to learn to deal with disappointment. Imagine that.
And go start the drama club.
Yeah. The idea of a parent bailing us out if we broke the law was unheard of. they actually sided with the law. I always told my kids, if you get arrested, don't call me. You shouldn't have gotten arrested. Those generations have produced some of the best risk takers, problem solvers, and inventors ever. Young people, you're dealing with a bunch of old folks here who are risk takers, problem solvers, and inventors. The past 50 years have been an explosion of innovation and new ideas. We had freedom, failure, success, responsibility, and we learned how to deal with it all. And as we're looking into this new time of economic crisis, you damn well better believe you're going to have to learn to deal with it all. Now, oh dear. So if you had the luck to grow up as kids before the lawyers and the government regulated so much of your lives for our own good, you and I are lucky. As you young people, you're stuck with all these stupid laws and regulations nowadays that they try to protect us with. Hey.
All I want to know is, what does this have to do with Barack Obama?
Well, he is part of the new group coming up. He didn't live through any of that either. He's young. I'm glad he's young, though. We'll talk about that, too. Did you hear Reverend Ted Haggard's back in the news?
Yes. You mean Ted Haggard, who's not gay and never was gay?
Well, yeah.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Do-do-do-do-do.
Have you ever wondered why there seem to be so many gays in the ministry?
That's a great question. What's your perspective?
What's the answer?
Oh, gosh. Is it related to... Oh, gosh. What are some other professions we're drawn to? What is the correlation between gays being drawn to the ministry and hairstyling? Or floral arranging?
Well, I tell you what. I think it goes back to what might be called social attitudes. Back in the 50s, when I was in my studies in theology and such, and I learned that there were a lot of students there, like myself, who liked people of their same gender. I thought, how interesting. Because why were we there? We were drawn to the ministry because social attitudes said we could be cured. And of course, back in the 50s and 60s and such, we really wanted to be cured if there was a way. Who in the world thinks that being gay is a big whoopie-doo? You know, a small portion of our population, 8 to 10% only, to be in a minority, and to be in a minority that is really hated and shunned and spit on and everything. Oh, great. I'd love to be a part of that group. No, we didn't. But we thought, according to what they were telling us, that we could be cured. So a lot of us went into the ministry. I think that's why there are so many gay priests, pastors, etc. that exist today, because that group went on into the ministry. And did they get cured? Probably not. Mm-hmm. I also think it deals with the fact that the vows of celibacy and not getting married and things, you know. Well, being unmarried, they're still human. And to be celibate, to have no sex, to be a human being that has no sex. What are we? You know, Barbie dolls? You know? Have you ever been celibate for any period of time? I mean, self-imposed.
Well, what's your definition of celibacy? Can I still have sex with myself?
No sex. No sex. No sex, period.
Okay. Not since I was so young I didn't know what sex was.
Okay. So you're a pretty normal human being then, huh?
Yeah. And well, while you were talking, I was thinking, okay, this might be the reason why people put up with all the bullshit of being gay. Because the sex is really good. I mean, thank God.
Yeah.
Because if the sex sucked, I'd be like, you know what?
Forget it.
Yeah, this party's over. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm taking the rest of the vodka with me.
I took a vow of celibacy when I was going into the ministry and such. That was an interesting time for me. I will say that you do learn a hell of a lot about yourself when you do take a vow of celibacy. The self-discipline is just incredible that you must exert. I mean, no masturbation, no sexual contact with either sex, etc.
What was the longest period that you did this?
Approximately 3 years.
Oh, yeah, no, that would never happen with me. Sorry. Yeah. I will never be a highly evolved spiritual being.
Well, I don't know that.
Well, without the aid of prescriptions, I should say.
I don't know that celibacy made me any more spiritual or not. It does teach us a lot of things, and those things were very positive. So I am thankful for that. I do remember after I finally decided to say, okay, no more vow of celibacy. I'm in my early 20s. This is enough. And I just got tired of going crazy. And so I had someone say, oh my gosh, I wish I'd have known you the first time you had sex after 3 years. And I said, well, it was not much different than having sex all the time, basically, It wasn't a super duper sexual encounter,
Oh my God, how's that possible, Ace? Hold on a second.
Let's see. Well, it certainly was possible. By the way, talking about sex, there is a sex scandal going on up in Portland, Oregon, regarding the community, the gay community, and the city, which are divided over their new mayor, because in Portland, Oregon, they have the first openly gay mayor of any major city. His name was Sam Adams. It had nothing to do with the beer, but he has recently openly confessed that he lied about having sex with a teenager. Let's see, when was that?
Wait, are we talking about, is this the mayor of Portland?
Yes,
Yeah, the guy was 18. That's the age of consent, right?
Yeah, it was, but the thing is that he did lie. And that's what is creating the big problem up there, both with the gay and the straight community. There have been debates going on, and a number of the gay newspapers, etc., have said he should step down and things like this. The Attorney General in Oregon, what's his name, John Kroger, I think it was, agreed to conduct an investigation into whether Adams committed a crime. But the city commissioners, the police chief, and the local district attorney have asked for the probe. So they're going through quite a bit of the normal political scandal crap up there. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I figure if what's his name from next door in Idaho, the Foot Tapper, Well, if he can come out unscathed and still remain in the Senate, I'm thinking that maybe Mayor Adams should be able to come out of this. So he's gay and he's open about it, and of course, he did lie and say it wasn't so, and then he comes out and says, "Okay, so I did it, yeah," and it was with one of the what was it? I don't know what they call them, pages or reporters or whatever they are in the political system up there, But it was a consensual thing too, so who knows what's going to happen there? Okay, all you Oregonians.
Well, here's what Wayne Besson has to say. He wrote a blog, or I don't know what it's called anymore, on this, and I think he has it right. He says, here's the deal. Yeah, he had initially tried to mislead people when they asked him if this had occurred, but he came clean. And here's the thing: the relationship had two critical components. That really should have everybody kind of calm down. One is the guy was of legal age at the time. The other is there was no exploitation of power at the time. In other words, it's not like he was the mayor then and the guy was, like you said, a page or somebody who was supervising. The guy wasn't using his power, in other words, over someone. So and again, it's the whole double standard that's applied to gay people, and probably in particular gay men. It's so funny. The world just acts like gay women don't have sex lives or something. I don't know. But if this had been a straight man who had fling with a young woman of age, it'd be like, man, this dude's kind of a stud. He can still pull. But, of course, when it comes to gay, it's like, it's borderline pedophilia. And it's like, you know what? It's because it's gay that you guys are all weirded out. You have a double standard.
Well, I think that the best thing that anyone can do is to live so openly and so honestly in love that you don't have to hide anything. You can be totally out in the open, and if people don't like it, tell them to sit on their thumb and spin.
Well, that's a nice thought, Ace, but here's the thing. We want everyone to be so crystal clean and pure and unscathed, and we get so shattered when they're revealed to be human. And quite frankly, they're only as human as we are. It's not like we're perfect. And so it's kind of like what women. It's kind of like what women complain about, where it's like, well, you're either a Madonna or a whore. It's like you're either like untouchable or you're a slut, and it's like we do that to our politicians too. It's like you're innocent until proven guilty, and then once you're guilty, it's like we're done with you. And you can kind of see how this is playing out with poor Barack Obama. I mean, the man has been turned into. Everybody's projecting all of these things onto him. And I'm like, the day is going to come when he systematically disappoints just about everybody because he's only one person. And he's in the middle of a giant political system that can't please everybody. Sorry, folks, but we've lionized him and elevated him to such a height. And I'm like, well, the higher you raise him, the harder he's going to fall because he's eventually, nobody's perfect. I mean, he's a great guy, but hey. So that's what I see in this Sam Adams thing. It's like, man, let him be a human being. The president of France, he's dating this chick. He's not married to her. She's a supermodel. They all think it's kind of cool. I think he's going to marry her. He's already married her at this point. And they just kind of roll with it. Here we'd be like, oh my God, shucks.
Well, we're a young country and we're quite Victorian still. Talking about sex.
We are a damn mess. And church attendance in America is higher than I think anywhere else in the developed world except Australia.
Speaking of church attendance,
church attendance is a bad thing.
We have a wonderful sponsor.
We do, yeah. Let's bring that up right after I bash church attending people.
Okay. In the Gentle Spirit Christian Church of Atlanta.
And, that is exactly right.
Folks, if you live in Atlanta and you would like to find a church because you think this is a necessary thing in your life, this probably is a very, very good church to go to. There are good churches and there are bad churches, and you'll find one that fits your particular, your thoughts, how you think. But Gentle Spirit is a good church in the sense that it doesn't kick people out for being human, basically. And where did they meet, Lance, in Atlanta?
In Candler Park. Gentle Spirit is the church without walls, and it literally is a church that meets in a structure that has no walls, to be as open as possible to all comers. Gentle Spirit meets it is covered in a picnic shelter in Candler Park, and it has definitely opened some doors for some people who have walked into the congregation who may not have otherwise found themselves inside a traditional church. They go by two sort of creeds. One is, the church without walls, and the other is no rules, just God, which, can kind of sound a little like, oh, what do I do with that at first? But if you really think about it, what it's about is everybody, I guess, being free to do what they believe God is calling them to do. There is not a hierarchy. Well, here's the really interesting thing about Gentle Spirit. There is no vestry. There is no board of directors. The board is the congregation. Anytime there's a church meeting that's called, whoever shows up becomes the governing body politic of that particular moment. Here's the really interesting thing. There are people who have signed covenants with the church, and that's cool. There are people who haven't and have gone there for quite a long time. And neither situation can command you to attend one of these congregation or board meetings or deny you the right to attend. So someone could theoretically walk into a Gentle Spirit governing body meeting that's been called and maybe never even have attended a church service and have a voice in the affairs of the church. And it's all part of just radical mission to sort of undo all of the power and control stuff that gets in the way when people get together to be spiritual. How cool is that?
Folks down there in the Atlanta area, if you're red, yellow, black, brown, or white, male or female, straight, gay, transgender, or striped, or whatever, and you want to attend or celibate even, yes, and you would like to attend a church service, the Gentle Spirit would be the place to go. Now, speaking of no walls, how about the no walls that comes with the internet these days? And we have certainly a sponsor there, too. Would you like to tell the folks about that sponsor?
Wait, who are we talking about?
We are talking about Mike and his work as setting up internet websites and things like that. He's a good man to contact. Sorry,
I wasn't following your logic train. Sorry.
Well, maybe I'm not logical.
You can send me a bless my heart.
Yes.
No, our wonderful and ever so able producer who puts up with all of our nonsense and is so good-natured about it, is also in the website design business. He is the backbone of our own internet presence. He's our own webmaster. And the company is Eclectic Resources.
And I don't think that he charges an arm and a leg like some do these days. So, folks, I would say check it out if you're thinking about needing some help with building a website and such, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we have a wonderful gay newspaper up in Oneonta, New York. Actually, it's the only statewide
I was going to say
newspaper.
I just saw an email.
Rules.
Yes, I just saw an email from the publisher saying that they're the only statewide gay newspaper in New York, which is really saying something.
They did a wonderful article on Lundon Calling in their present issue. And
That's exactly
I certainly thank them for that, because we've got listeners from the New York area as a result. Now, I must tell you this, too. We're getting all of these commercials out of the way. And, folks, if you want to email us on Lundon Calling, that address is
Lundon.calling@gmail.com.
That's LUNDON.calling@gmail.com. Tell us your thoughts, we would like to hear from you. And folks, for those of you who have the desire to see our show continue, we thank you for your gifts. I don't know what they're called. I thought donations meant something that had to do with what do you call, when you get a tax write-off or something, but they're calling them gifts or donations. $5 means a lot, and we've got a page on the website where you can check into the PayPal thing, and if you send $5, bless your heart, because I don't know how we're going to be able to keep things going unless we do get a few gifts. I will say that. And I do thank you very, very much from the bottom of my little red heart. And Lance, I must tell you, we are an animal species, the human is. I want you to know that I smell wonderful. Actually, I don't smell wonderful. I stink wonderful. And if you were here to smell my stink, you would know that I have been bathing with Belsapone handcrafted soap from the Emporium. It is wonderful. I used to think when my ex-wife and I would go to these fancy, posh Bel Air and Beverly Hills parties where there were so many very, very wealthy, and I thought, oh, she smells nice and he smells nice. Well, the rich usually always smell nice because they can afford to. And if you want to smell nice, folks, I would suggest that you get a hold of this. And there's on our sponsor website, check into that, what's it called, HTTP thing, and find out, because this soap makes me stink wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it.
You're glad to hear it. Well, I suppose so are a lot of other people that I might run into. Hey, going back to the sex scandal thing, there's 3 women friends, one in a casual relationship, one engaged to be married, and one a longtime wife. They met for drinks after work. The conversation eventually drifted towards how best to spice up their sex lives. And after much discussion, they decided to surprise their men by engaging in some S&M role-playing. That's S&M, sadomasochism role-playing. The following week, they met up once again to compare notes. Sipping her drink, the single girl leered and said, "Last Friday at the end of the workday, I went to my boyfriend's office wearing a leather coat. And when all the people had left, I slipped out of it, and all I had on was a leather bodice, black stockings, and stiletto heels. Well, he was so aroused that we made mad, passionate love on his desk right there and then." The engaged woman giggled and said, "Well, that's pretty much my story. When my fiancé got home last Friday, he found me waiting for him in a black mask, a leather bodice, black hose, and stiletto pumps. And he was so turned on that we not only made love all night, he wants to move up our wedding date." The married woman put her glass down and said, "I did a lot of planning. I made arrangements for the kids to stay over at Grandma's. I took a long scented oil bath and then put on my best perfume. I slipped into a tight leather bodice, a black garter belt, black stockings, and 6-inch stilettos, and I finished it off with a black mask ready for action. When my husband got home, he grabbed a beer in the remote, sat down, and yelled, 'Hey, Batman, what's for dinner?'"
Terrible.
Terrible.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord help us.
Lord help us.
As a farm boy, an old farm boy, ex-farm boy, I'm a lover of animals. 2 shows ago, we did the show the day after my little friend of nearly 14 years had died the day before. I was kind of a mess that day. If any of you want to buy a quart bottle of tears, I got it. But my little PJ went to doggy heaven. And dogs are a part of our lives, whether we're old or young, and they become like a part of the family. However, there are people like Michael Vick, etc., who mistreat their dogs or animals. And I don't know how it is around all the country, but I do know that here in Bullhead City, Arizona, we have probably more pit bulls than we have population. I cannot believe it. It's just amazing. And in Omaha, Nebraska, pit bulls are now required to have a $100,000 liability insurance policy. And in some cities like Denver and Colorado and Sioux City, Iowa, pit bulls have been banned altogether. There is there's always the pro and con to everything. The breed-specific legislation, people say, alienates the dog owners, and that it doesn't work. But they say that, well, supporters of breed-specific legislation argue the only way to be safe from dog bites is to eradicate the dangerous breeds from the community. And they say there is little or no evidence that breed-specific legislation reduces dog bites and dog attacks. Sadly, they say a bill recently failed in Illinois that would prevent insurance companies from, quote, unfairly discriminating against consumers based on the breed of a dog at their residence. And they say that now there are several cities across the country who are considering some form of breed-specific legislation, and this includes Mississippi, Massachusetts, Ohio, and Washington states. So, folks, you're out there in the fray of the fight that goes on. You're going to have to make up your mind on this, too. I don't know about you, but I know that I have known owners that had pit bulls, and those pit bulls have done some pretty violent things. It's like, can they be trusted? It's a situation where you're going to have to make up your mind. One of my roommates one time had a pit bull, and it was fine. As long as he was there with it, the dog was just fine. Until one day at a party, the dog took a chunk out of one of the partygoers' arms. Out of the blue. Why? Who knows? Is there something in the pit bull breed that is that different? Or what? Even a little chihuahua can bite, but it's not quite as, hospitalization ahead time when a chihuahua bites. Now, you've got a new dog too, don't you, Lance?
Yeah, and she's part pit bull.
She is.
Yep.
Well, you're going to have to do some thinking too and make sure, because who knows why a dog does what it does. Some people say it's the owners that maybe don't love it enough or care for it enough or something. Some say it's something in the gene of the dog itself, So it's just something for us to think about. As Aristotle said, it's the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Yes.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Well, I have to say that so far Daisy is a very sweet dog.
Well, with a name like Daisy, she better be.
Oh, yeah. She's a
think I'm-
handful. She's a
Yeah.
handful. She's a big puppy. She's got a lot of energy, and she really doesn't chew on things so much as she just eats them. Like she can just. I mean, she chewed through her first collar within 48 hours. It was just gone. It was like it never existed.
Wow.
Yeah. Today I came home and I'd just taken her to get spayed on Monday, and so of course she's wearing the e-collar, the satellite dish.
Yeah.
And apparently I didn't have that thing on snugly enough because I came home today and she had eaten it. It's just gone.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, after the spaying, it's always lick time. So yeah, they need that. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
So
way,
we'll be running to the pet store tomorrow to pick up another one, and we'll put it on even snugger.
after my friends had found out, that my little PJ had died, they'd known her over the years and such, so many of them. And I keep getting calls and emails saying, Ace, you can't be alone without a dog. You've had a dog, for so long. And I said, yeah, but I can't afford a dog because I can't afford to go out and buy a dog, even at a kennel or whatever, because the dogs cost so crazy much these days, So it's nice that an old person should have a dog, but a lot of old people can't afford a dog. And, of course, then you've got to think about the different breeds of dog. A St. Bernard would eat me out of house and home because, that would just be crazy, But my friends Scott and Dave in Colorado contacted me and said, Ace, enough with this. You've got to have a dog. We're going to buy a dog for you. So tomorrow I am going to go to 29 Palms, California, because my little 82 car can make that trip because it's not hilly. It's right across the desert. So it's nice, pretty flat land to the 29 Palms. And I'm going to pick up a little dog named Honey. She's 3 years old, weighs 6 pounds. And so it'll be kind of just like PJ, 6 pounds.
Oh.
So I'll have a little Honey with me pretty soon.
You'll be an old lady with a little toy dog. I love it.
Yes, isn't that sweet? Bless my heart.
My dog would eat your dog.
Yep, in one gulp. Oh, yes. I tell you. Well, here are some thoughts that we can ponder on in this new year of 2009 as we go into a new month next show. My goodness. I've got 10 points here. Number 10. Ponder on this, folks. Life is sexually transmitted.
Love it.
Number 9. Good health is merely the slowest possible rate at which one can die. Yes, the Grim Reaper's on the way, but good health will keep him away just a little longer. Number 8. Men, the male human animal, men have 2 emotions, hungry and horny. So girls or boys, if you see him without an erection, make him a sandwich. Number 7. Give a person a fish and you feed them for a day. Teach a person to use the internet and they won't bother you for weeks. Number 6. Some people are like a slinky. You know what a slinky toy is,
Oh, yes.
Not really good for anything, but you still can't help but smile when you shove them down the stairs. Number 5. Health nuts are going to feel stupid someday, lying in hospitals, dying of nothing. Number 4. All of us could take a lesson from the weather. It pays no attention to criticism. Ah, that's a good one. Number 3, why does a slight tax increase cost you $200 and a substantial tax cut save you only $30? That's a good thought. Number 2, in the 1960s, people took acid to make the world weird. Now the world is weird and people take Prozac to make it normal. And the number 1 thought for 2009 is, we know exactly where one cow with mad cow disease is located among millions and millions of cows in North America. But we haven't got a clue as to where millions of illegal immigrants and terrorists are located. Maybe we should put the Department of Agriculture in charge of immigration. Yes, yes. Just some thoughts to ponder on as we enter this new year. So, folks, we hope that you're having a good time. You can be negative or positive in your life. I guarantee you that being negative sucks. It doesn't get you anywhere. So you try to look through your rose-colored glasses. We're going through a hell of a time, and it's going to be probably a more hell of a time ahead. So you better put those rose-colored glasses on and try to figure out how in the hell you're going to cope with all that's going to be happening, because it is unavoidable. We are in one of the biggest messes that I can remember in my lifetime, from the the economic standpoint. So we're going to have to do some changing in our lives. I have to figure out every month how in the hell I'm going to make my food stamps work to feed me for an entire month. Things like that. You're going to have to face these things. I don't know how you young people can go to the colleges and the universities that you do these days, because, Lord, help us. If I paid $400 or something for a book when I was going through, I'd have never made it through school. I was working 2 jobs. Walked to the one and did the other one on campus. And my school back then was only like $4,000 a year. So you young people in university studies, bless your hearts, I have got such respect for you. I don't know how you're doing it, but by God you are. And all I can say is hang in there tough. You may have to change a lot of your habits. Your social life may suck at times, but that's what you're going to have to be putting up with, I think, in the days ahead. My social life, I don't know anything about it. I don't think it even exists, But that's what you go through. That's what you go through. Hey, my social life is my right hand,
Ace, London, we got through we were 58 minutes into the show, and we almost made it.
Well, I know. At least I kept it.
All I'm thinking the whole time you're saying this is, you'll know that things have disintegrated in the Helms household when I start saying things like, Daisy's dog food is really delicious.
That dog food is good stuff. I don't care what anyone says.
We'll place bets on who will be the first of the two of us to make a comment about dog food being real tasty?
Well, my young brother, when we were little, we were up at a friend's house, and he saw some little cookies on the table there, and so he took one, and he's eating these little cookies, and Aunt Esther comes in and says, "What are you doing, Manny?" And he said, "I ate your cookies, I'm sorry." She said, "Those were the doggy biscuits." Well, they were good. They were good. Next week, we've got a very special guest, Lucille Campilongo from California, the author of Lucia's Survival Guide and Cookbook. Be sure and tune in and meet this wonderful lady. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Lance. Thank you, Mike. Thanks,
Ace.
everybody.
Good night.
Night, night.